Hello, everybody. Welcome back to DeMarco and DeMarco and Leone. My apologies. Do sports on this snowy Friday afternoon. My name is Christopher Leone. I'm joined here by Mike DeMarco here. Today we're going to be talking about, the huge, New York sports, some stuff going on in the sports world as well. Talk about Iona Gales. We got a game tonight at 7 o'clock. Going to be really fun, and I will be there along with Mike. We also got some baseball news coming out from Joey Gallo of the New York Yankees. And we also have some news from the NHL regarding the New York Rangers and the New York Islanders. So our local scores and records for the New York area teams. The Knicks are in the 12th in the Eastern Conference. They're 25 and 34. The Nets are 8th with 31 and 29, just barely over 500. The New York Rangers are second in the Metro Division with 33, 13, and 5. And the New York Islanders are sixth in the Metro Division with 27, 23, and 1. So, Mike, what do we got in store for today?
Not much. And just a reminder, if you guys have any questions, please put
Oh,
in the
yeah,
chat,
definitely.
and we'll get to your
We'll
questions
be
when.
taking time after every segment to check out the questions that are on the board. So,
Yes.
what's
So
going
to
on?
start off, Iona basketball, our local basketball. Iona's in the conference overall is 14-2, and their overall is 22-5. Their last game was played against Fairfield. They beat them easily, 76-58. The top scorers of that game was Nelly Jr. Joseph, which was named the player of the week. 30 minutes, 15 points, 0 assists, and 10 rebounds. Elijah Joyner, 32 minutes, 10 points, 4 assists, and 3 rebounds. And Ryan Myers, 10 minutes, 8 points, 1 assist, and 0 rebounds. And today, the Iona Gales are going to play against Canisius today at 7 p.m. at the Hines Athletic Center. Please, everyone, show up so we can support our own Iona Gales. Canisius is coming in last place in the conference with a record of 4-12 and an overall of 8-19. Like I said before, please, everyone, come out, support the Iona Gales so we can continue the unbeaten streak at home to
Oh,
12 and
yeah.
0. So let's continue. I honestly think that the Iona Gales are gonna definitely beat Canisius like we did last time.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah, I
so
remember that night, me and Mike, we watched the game in his room. And first half, we were not so hot. But in the second half, we heated up a little bit and we won. I'm pretty sure. I don't remember the score, but I remember that we did win. Um, and they're first in in the MAC, I believe it's
we
called.
are.
Yes, the MAC. Yes.
Yes.
And for March Madness, last time I checked, we're up against Ohio State. I was
Oh
about to
wow.
say
Oh wow.
Ohio, but that makes no
Yeah.
sense. So yeah, we're up against Ohio State for March Madness. Um, as of last I checked, that might have changed, because
Mhm.
different games,
Exactly.
whatnots. But last time I checked, yes.
We'll see because honestly, as the season keeps going, and as we keep winning, we will definitely play against harder and harder people
Oh
or
yeah,
teams. I mean, once we get closer to the March Madness.
100%. Yeah,
And it's going to be interesting because there's only 4 games left. And I think the
yeah.
March Madness starts on March 9th. I think that's last
Mm-hmm.
time I remember hearing about that. And that's going to be an interesting game.
Yeah.
Hopefully, first we have to deal with the MAC tournament that's in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Hopefully, a bunch of Gales show up there to support. I know I am.
Are you going?
Yeah, I really want to go, to be honest.
Nice.
I'm gonna go with a couple of my friends. I don't know if you want to come with me or not, but
We'll
we'll
see.
see.
We'll
We'll
see.
see. Hopefully they're free tickets. I don't know.
Yeah.
If they're not free tickets, then that's okay. That's a different story. But we'll see. Um, we'll see. Their first game depends on how the standings look like in the MAC tournament. Obviously, we're gonna come in as the first seed. Right
Yes.
now. I don't think that we're gonna ever drop, to be honest, as we're going right now, especially at home. Like I said,
Yeah, we're
we're
absolutely dominating with in our conference games. In the first half of the season as well, we pretty much dominated.
exactly.
Yeah.
We did was it like an 11 game winning streak? Sadly,
Yes.
we lost that winning streak. against Niagara away. And then after that, we lost against what was it? What was it? We lost against either like St. Pete or something like that. It was away from home. I
and
forget.
then Siena also beat us too.
Oh, that was it was we lost twice. So
Yes.
then when Siena away then. Yeah, it was okay, yeah. It was definitely Siena that we lost away. So hopefully we can go to 12-0. I highly doubt that we're gonna lose against Canisius.
Yes.
But any team can beat any team in any given day. So
Yep.
try not to be too confident. Hopefully the Eagles are, and I'm pretty sure they're not going to be when you have Rick Pitino as head coach.
Yeah.
So-
He's definitely one of the best things that's happened to this team.
So, do you want to continue to the next session, or let's actually look at the chat? Let's see what the
Yeah.
people say in the
What's
chat.
going on in our chat right now? Let's check
Okay,
it out.
so the chat says, "What is the predictions for Iona in March Madness?"
So, the last time I checked the March Madness bracket, I believe it was on ESPN. We were up against Ohio State. I think we can beat Ohio State. And the other two are either Vermont or Providence. And that's going to be a tricky one because both programs are very good. Providence is the better one.
Mhm.
And I think that if Vermont overcomes Providence, I think we'll beat Vermont. But Providence, we'll see. We'll see.
Do you know what's funny? When Rick Pitino started being a head coach, he was the head coach of Providence, and in
Really?
March Madness they beat Alabama in the March
Wow.
Madness tournament. So that's you can definitely say that small organizations can definitely beat big organizations, like we saw in our own season when we beat Alabama.
Oh yeah.
And in the invitational at ESPN in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
So I see there's no more questions, so we can continue to the next session.
Yes. So we're gonna go to some NHL news before we hit up the lockout and what Joey Gallo said. So we're gonna talk about the two New York teams because Jersey does not count this time around. All right. So we're gonna start with the Islanders. So last night, Zdeno Chara, who was drafted, I believe, in the second round back in 1997, has now beaten the record for the most games played by an NHL defenseman. Before that, the record was by Chris Chelios, 1,651 games by Chelios, and now Zdeno Chara has one more game on top of him. Very, very big accomplishment by him. 44 years old. I think he's on the verge of 45. And this is definitely his last season. There also have been, trade rumors of him as well because of his legacy on the ice, and people want him. But we'll see what happens with that. And speaking of the Islanders even more, last night I watched the first period and then I gave up because it's just a terrible season for them. I'm gonna be honest.
Definitely. They definitely something happened. Honestly, it was probably the nervousness of getting a new arena or something. I don't know.
Well, the schedule was kind of against us. We had 13 road games to start the season.
Oh wow!
And then we had a 10-game losing streak on top of that too, which did not help. But speaking of losing, we lost last night in a shootout against the San Jose Sharks, who are also out of a playoff spot. Now, the one thing that does continue is our point streak because we did get a point last night.
Oh yeah, because you guys tied in regular and then went to shootouts, correct?
Yes. There were goals from Zach Parisi, my boy Brock Nelson, and Adam Pelech. Shout out to the Pelech posse. And so that's it for the New York Islanders. And now on to the Rangers. The Rangers beat the Caps, the Washington Capitals, almost the New York Capitals. Doesn't make any sense. 4-1. Goals from Lafreniere, Zibanejad, Barclay Goodrow, and Chris Kreider. Igor Shesterkin had 37 shots against 36 saved and a save percentage of .973. Wow. Kreider has 21 goals and 11 assists, and he's currently on pace for 57 goals. And out of the 21 goals he scored this season, 17 had been on power plays. So that, in my opinion, shows more of how the Rangers power play has evolved more than,
Yeah,
his
definitely.
scoring. Like, yeah, sure, great scoring ability, but you have to also put into the fact that most of them have been on power plays.
Exactly. Like you can definitely see that Chris Kreider is definitely stepping up, because obviously, the New York Rangers are a really good team, in the Metro Division, and they always, let's say, put a good field on, or put a good team on the ice. But this season is completely different. This is his first time that he's gonna be reaching 57. Let's say projected to reach 57 goals, like Chris said.
Yes.
And it's really intriguing, and honestly, especially like Chris said, Igor Shesterkin having 36 saves. I watched the game yesterday, and it's amazing to see how invested the fans are, and especially how Igor Shesterkin is performing on the ice. It's definitely not easy to be
Mhm.
a goalie in hockey. I personally, I'm a goalie for soccer, and I just can't see I can be a goalie in hockey. It's
Yeah.
completely different. The
Mhm.
puck is super small. I have no idea
Yeah.
how Igor Shesterkin saves that. To be honest,
Mhm.
I really don't.
So tomorrow the Rangers are gonna play, the Pittsburgh Penguins, uh, who are 3rd in the division. Pittsburgh also having another great regular season. Hopefully, they lose in the first round again, but we're not gonna discuss that.
Yeah, no, it's honestly, that game's gonna be interesting. Definitely this last game against the Capitals was a very good win for us, because last time the Islanders did lose, and there was a huge fight against the Islanders and the Capitals. And they definitely had grudges against both teams. And
Yeah.
it was definitely a really good win
Mhm.
for the Rangers. And I see there's a couple more questions, so
Alright.
let's go to the chat. So the chat says, is Rick Pitino's idea to be like Gonzaga? So I can answer this question. So
Yeah.
in his past interview that I've seen, he wants to have Iona as the Gonzaga of the East.
Okay.
So what that means is that he wants to have this program as a, let's say, basketball team known as a really good and standout team, to have recruitment all over the world, and being able to go to the March Madness and being able to compete and maybe
Mhm.
win the March Madness tournament, because
Yeah.
it will be a really good aspect for Iona, especially because he's already in his end of his career. He's from New York. He doesn't want to go anywhere else, so that's why he wanted to come here to a smaller school.
Yes.
That's not very as demanding, but he still pushes the players to be, let's say, as high level as they can be.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Whenever I'm at a game, you'd always hear him yelling from the
Oh
stands.
my god.
Yeah.
I remember one of the games I was at, he was pounding on the desk. You
Yeah.
could hear it from anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Like he's very intense. I would not want to be in the locker room when you're losing at halftime. Not at all,
Yeah.
because you can see all his veins popping on his head. Okay, let's look at the chat again. So, what is the best position to recruit for? And I'm guessing they're talking about the Iona Gales, like what position we need to get
Mhm.
for Iona. Like I said in the last time we were here on Friday when Chris was out of town, I said that the position that need to get is a 3-point shooter. Honestly, right now, Iona's not really doing that well outside the court. Obviously, Elijah Joyner is stepping up, the grad transfer from, I guess, Towton. No, I want to say Loyola, but I
Yeah.
honestly don't think it's Loyola. But but he's definitely stepping up. Before, in the beginning of the season, he was 18% of threes, and now he's up to, I would say, like 30, let's say 35%, which is really helping Iona, let's say, seal some of the games, which is really crucial for us, especially how we are performing, especially
Mhm.
at home. At the same time, having a home audience that is invested in us winning definitely is going to help. Like Rick Pitino said in the beginning of the season, if we get 1,000 students in the Heinz Athletic Center, we're going to win every single game. And
Yeah.
it definitely shows because we're going to our next game to 11-0. Hopefully it's going to be 12-0.
Yeah, definitely a big achievement for both Rick Pitino and the school, I would say as well.
Mm.
Pitino, he was in the final of March Madness, I'm pretty sure before.
He won twice. He was
Yeah.
the only, I'm pretty sure he's the only head coach that's won the March Madness with two different Division 1
Well, hopefully it's
basketball
3.
teams.
Hopefully
Hopefully
it's
it's 3. As of right now, we're probably on the lower ranking.
Yeah,
To
we're
be honest,
ranked currently, last time I checked, 12.
that's
Out
actually
of
pretty good, to be
out
honest.
of I think
Because
it's
last year we were
18?
18.
18
I
maybe?
think it was either 18 or 16, one of those
Something
two.
like that, yeah.
Yeah, which is really good, to be honest.
Yeah.
You can see like from last year to this year, it's obviously we were really good last year,
Yeah,
but this year is a different team, I would
definitely.
say. We did not have a winning streak at home last year, so it's definitely you can definitely see the improvement that all the players have and the respect that they have for Rick Pitino.
Mhm.
Let's see, one more question. What's a prediction for the Stanley Cup and why?
All right, so I'll answer this one. So I have gone through many different teams throughout the season. At first, I said St. Louis against the Hurricanes. Now I'm leaning more towards Vegas.
Okay.
Sort of like a Vegas versus Florida.
Okay.
I don't see Tampa going back. Personally, they lost a lot of depth in the offseason.
You never know, the Rangers could sneak in there.
That's a possibility too, but the only difference between them and St. Louis is that a lot of the St. Louis players have playoff experience. The Rangers do not. They've been out
That's
of the
true.
they've been out of the playoffs for the most part since 2017. They were in the playoffs when the bubble happened, but they lost all 3 games they were in.
Ugh.
They don't have a lot of playoff experience.
Mm.
The only one of, I would say, notoriety, actually 2 no, 3. Kreider,
Okay.
Panarin, because when he was with Columbus and Chicago, they went to the playoffs with him.
Okay.
And then Zibanejad, who went to the playoffs with the Rangers, obviously in 2020, and then before that when they were, like before their recent rebuild.
Okay.
So currently, right now, my personal opinion on who's going to make the final is Vegas, and I want to see the Capitals, even though I can't stand them.
The Capitals.
Yeah.
Honestly, let's say, even though I'm a Rangers fan and let's say hopefully they can reach the finals, but let's say seeing how the Hurricanes and the Panthers are doing, I would say either, let's say, the Panthers and Vegas. Honestly, that's my prediction.
Now, I watched a recent video on this on YouTube, and basically there's a noticeable sweet spot of how many games a team wins in the regular season compared to who wins the Stanley Cup.
Okay.
And the majority of the teams that are like really, really good are way over that sweet spot. The sweet spot's around 0.694 games that are wins. So St. Louis was around there back in 2019. Tampa was there for both their Stanley Cup wins. Who was 2018? Not Chicago. My apologies. Washington was there too. So it's a noticeable like sweet spot, and Vegas is in that sweet spot, and I'm pretty sure Washington is too. So we could see a rematch of 2018.
So I'm not trying to be biased.
Go ahead.
The Rangers beat them 4-1.
Yeah. See, the only
I'm just saying. I'm just putting that out there.
You guys have offense, and their defense is really like old compared to you guys' defense.
Well, honestly, we like basically the Rangers have all offense and barely any defense. If the team can shut down Mika, Panarin, and Kreider, there's no way the Rangers are going to come back.
Yes. So
because they
Yeah.
are really putting all their eggs in that one basket. I
Yeah.
would say, like I said, if they lock down all those 3 players, there's no way the Rangers are going to come back from that.
Yeah.
Um, and it's going to be difficult for them for sure, definitely, because they don't really have any other, let's say, standout players. Let's say, yes, Ryan Reeves is a really good signing that they got from the Golden Knights, but he's not, let's say, an impact player.
No.
The only reason why we got him is because his physicality,
Yeah.
which we needed, which is definitely showing
Hmm.
in that. So
Yeah. So my prediction is Vegas and Washington, a rematch in 2018. Though I think Vegas will win over um, the Caps this time around.
mm.
I don't see Ovechkin getting a second cup. I don't see him winning ever a second cup. So
Did Vegas win Stanley Cup already?
nope.
Oh, not yet.
Nope.
Oh, I thought they did.
Mm-mm.
Interesting.
So, but yeah, going back to what you said about a team shutting down, Kreider, Panarin, like the big guys.
The big three.
Yes. So I'll compare it to this. In both times in the recent past that the Islanders have versed against the Penguins, we are able to shut down Sidney Crosby easily.
Hmm.
In the 10 games we've seen him in the playoffs in the past 3 years, he only has 1 goal in those 10 games.
Wow.
So
So basically, what you're saying is, if we shut down Crosby, then we're pretty good.
if you're able to shut down the top scorer or the 3 top scorers, you're
Mhm.
set.
Is he the top scorer in the NHL right now?
No.
No.
I don't I think it's not Ovechkin anymore. He was up there for a while though.
Hmm.
I no, it's Huberto on the
Hmm.
Panthers.
Is he?
Yeah.
Very nice.
All right, let's check
Let's
the questions
see.
again.
Let's take the questions. When is the next Iona game at home? Tonight we covered that already. Like I said, we were playing Canisius at 7. I know Gales, please come out and support. What's going on with baseball? Is the lockout gonna end?
All right, so that's what we're going to talk about right now. So, there's no agreement yet between the Players Association and the league, and if there's none by the 28th, then the MLB season could be either postponed or completely canceled. I don't want that. Nobody wants
Yeah,
that.
no one really does, because if the MLB cancels, then you're losing valuable employees. You're losing people that work the concession stands, people that work the ticketing,
Yep.
people that work for that do the groundskeeping, the ball boys. And you're gonna lose so much revenue if the season ends, because there's basically, baseball is America's sport. And
Yep.
it's basically America's favorite pastime.
Hmm.
And it would be very, very sad to see that the baseball season
Yeah.
is canceled. Like, it's definitely a sad sight to see, for sure.
Hmm. So I would say probably the best things that have come out of these meetings that they've been meeting. So they're meeting for 15 minutes every day until the 28th. And if they don't have
Mm-mm,
an agreement by then the season will be either postponed
mm-mm.
or completely canceled, which
Yes.
again, we don't want.
Yep.
So universal DH for both the National and the American League, that was discussed in our first show 2 weeks ago.
Yes, it was.
Now, since then, the league has agreed on the players getting an increase of $10,000 for the minimum salary each year, starting at $630,000, which I wouldn't mind that type of salary.
Literally, no one wouldn't.
And the MLBPA, that's a lot of letters right there.
Player Association.
Yes, the Player Association proposed a minimum salary that would begin at $775,000 for 2022, an increase of $30,000 each year.
Yeah, and obviously, let's say
Yes.
with the 15-minute discussion, obviously nothing's gonna get resolved.
Yeah.
Nothing really is gonna get resolved in 15 minutes. I can tell you that
No.
right now. I think that's just a joke. If they really want the season to start as regular time, they should really sit down for a lot longer. I think
Honestly.
they should honestly see that the owners of these baseball clubs should see that you're basically taking away, let's say, the favorite sport of America, honestly.
And it's not the people who, excuse me, own these teams, and it's not the players either that are getting messed up and screwed by this. It's
Mhm.
the fans.
Exactly.
Because I'll tell you this, I have a family friend and they want to go to a Mets series in Arizona over this
Mhm.
when they play in Arizona, and they already booked their flights to go. They already have hotel arrangements for it too. And now with the season delayed, they don't know if they're even going to go.
Exactly. Like it's really annoying because if you don't have this season, then it's gonna backfire on the owners. They're gonna lose
Exactly.
so much money.
They're
They're gonna
missing out.
exactly, and they're not gonna know what to do. And recently on Bleacher Report, the MLBPA, the Player Association, discussed the idea from the league to involve a federal mediator in the negotiation. This was the second time in 2 weeks that the union shut down that proposal. Honestly, I definitely agree with that. To be honest,
Yeah.
having a mediator is just like basically telling your parents between your siblings, okay, who's better? Honestly.
Yeah.
And at the same time, also the pitchers are getting affected too. The pitchers were told to report on February 15th, and obviously that did not happen. With spring training already pushed back from the original February 26th date, opening in opening day is jeopardy to be delayed.
Yeah.
As of right now, let's say everyone's saying the date is the 28th. If they don't reach that deadline, then at this point they should just cancel it.
Well, it's not going to get canceled necessarily because it'll probably be delayed at most likely.
Mhm.
And the problem with that is that now you have out of the last, including this upcoming season, if it happens, the past 3 seasons, 2 have now been delayed. The first one, obviously, due to COVID, it was a
Mhm.
60-game season,
Yes.
and now this. So
Mhm.
they're going to
Exactly.
have a lot of not issues from the owners or the players. Now the
Mhm.
fans are going to be mad.
Exactly.
So
What happened? Because the last lockout was what year?
1994 or 95, one of those.
95. And what was the
94.
result of having the lockout? If
The
you know.
season was completely canceled.
No, meaning like after, let's say after the season was officially canceled, like what happened? Like let's say what was the effects of having the season
Oh, the
canceled?
players didn't get paid. Nobody got paid.
Yeah, makes sense. That they're not gonna pay the
Now,
players, which
yeah.
because that's literally the only source of income the players have. Like there's
Mhm.
really
I mean, some of sponsorships,
well,
yeah,
exactly, but like the
but
thing is, if you're not playing in games, you're not getting
and
paid
the
for
majority of
sponsorships.
players don't have sponsorships. That's
Exactly.
what it is. Only
And
like the Aaron Judges or the Pete Alonsos of the world are
exactly.
gonna
And
have. Yeah,
obviously
so
there's more, let's say, rookies than star
yeah,
players. So obviously these rookies are coming in from the farming system and try to get to the first team are obviously not getting a chance to perform and know what, let's say, their talent that they have.
yeah,
And so that's why they're having a discussion with the player association and the club and trying to figure out what's the best course of action, which I honestly think they're doing a really bad job about it.
yeah. It's just not. It's not working out.
It really isn't, to be honest. It's really sad to see how it's turning out.
Hmm.
You would think that these big corporations that have, or let's say, big teams, would have a really good front office, but it really doesn't show.
No. Now
Uh,
the difference between '94 and this is that in '94 it was the players union that was the
that,
culprit.
huh?
Now it's the owners, so it
Mm,
switched.
okay.
So
And you were to think they learned from history, from the previous lockout, but I guess not. So I honestly don't know what's their problem. So
all right, so
so
let's take some questions before we move on to the next
yes, let's
segments.
see what the next question is. Um so the question, should baseball change the season to have a shorter regular season and a longer playoff like
Yes,
baseball or hockey?
yes.
So what are your
I
thoughts
think
on
that
that?
would. I believe that will increase competitiveness to get into the playoffs.
Mhm,
I'm not a fan of how the MLB playoffs are set up. Now,
mhm,
yes, there are going to be instances of teams having under 500 records if that's the case,
mhm,
but that was the situation with the NHL back in the 80s because
mhm.
the Islanders beat Vancouver in 80 82,
Okay.
and they had under 500, the Canucks.
Okay.
Um and I think that if you lower the amount of regular games to maybe 140,
Because I think it's 162 games in baseball.
yeah, so take out, I don't know, take out like a series
Mhm,
from
mhm.
each of your division
Okay.
rivals, I think that you would have a much more competitive season, in my
Exactly.
opinion.
See, like how many games are in a hockey season?
82.
82. Okay. So obviously they shouldn't drop it down that far to
No.
82 because that's, let's say, there's no point because but if they, let's say, because 162 probably, I don't know, drop it down to 100 maybe or something like that.
Now, see, the only thing with that is that you're not going to have the ability to see all of your inner divisional rivals at
Okay.
least, a
Okay.
couple times. You're not going to be able to see all of the either the NL or the AL because every team sees everybody
Okay.
in
Yeah.
their league,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not going to have interleague play as much either.
Okay. So it's just tricky in that aspect because
Yeah.
you gotta put a number because obviously 162 is a perfect number for each team to play against other teams in their division and outside of the division. So obviously trying to, let's say, reduce it, you have to figure out the perfect number again. Like you
Yeah.
said, taking out a series is probably a good idea.
I would say take out a series from each interdivisional uh play.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Mets, you don't play the Marlins, Phillies, Nats, and Braves. You take one series away from all four of those teams from the Mets.
Okay.
That's that's 150 games right there. So you
Oh
take
wow.
away 12.
Okay.
So 140, 150. I think it's a little more competitive in my opinion.
Exactly.
So
And then having an extended playoff is gonna make up for it.
yeah, like I think that I think it's the NL or ALDS is only out of 5. I think it should be out of 7 in my
Huh.
opinion. So,
Interesting. Well, let's say actually that kind of I remember that because this previous World Series, the Atlanta Braves won the World Series against the
yeah.
Astros, correct?
Mhm.
Which thank God they won
Yeah.
because I'm a Yankees
Even
fan.
even me
So
as a Mets fan, I rooted for the Braves because I can't stand the Astros. Can't
yeah,
stand them.
the cheating Astros, as we say.
Yeah.
But I it's difficult to say how it's gonna, let's say, what the league is gonna be like if they do reduce the games in the
Yeah.
regular season, because it's just theoretical right now. If they do decide to do that, let's say, I don't know, as a test or something,
Mhm.
um it would definitely be interesting to see if they do end up doing that, and how it turns out to be.
Yeah.
And even, let's say, if it's not a lot of games, like I said, the playoffs are going to make up
Yeah.
the games because there's going to be a longer series or a longer playoffs, and it's going to be more
And
interactive.
you're less likely to have injury if there's less games too.
Exactly.
So,
That's also a big aspect of having a
you
really long season.
yeah, you could also possibly spread out games a little more, and that's also going to
Well,
reduce
the
injury.
thing is that it's 162 games.
Yeah,
Like
so
they're playing like back-to-back games
so
every
if you
day.
decrease it by 12 games, you can spread out a little more.
Exactly. Like obviously you're still gonna have games that you're gonna be back to back to back, but then
Yeah,
all of a
exactly.
sudden, like, you have, like, let's say, 2 days of break, which everyone needs a break. Like if you work like 24/7 without breaks, you're obviously not gonna be efficient.
Yeah.
So like everyone needs a break. You're gonna be burnt out after a while.
All right, so
So
let's check for any more questions, and then we'll move
I
on to the
think there's
next.
one more question. Let's see.
Awesome.
Will the lockout hurt baseball popularity?
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
The lockout from COVID 100% hurting.
Definitely. Like honestly, the lockout definitely is gonna hurt them because let's say it goes in the way of sports season. So obviously before was football.
Yes.
Now it's let's say then after it was basketball and then now it's baseball.
Yep.
The thing is that now that the lockout happens, everyone's gonna focus on basketball and no
Mhm.
one's gonna worry about baseball anymore. Because obviously the season's either A is gonna be delayed or it's gonna be canceled.
Yeah.
So we don't really know what's gonna happen. So in that aspect, if that happens, then I think you're not gonna see a lot of popularity at all, to be honest.
Now, I will say this, what you're gonna see is an increase in popularity of college baseball, because I
That
already
could be.
know Arizona, the University of Arizona, or Arizona, one of those, Arizona State or University of Arizona, one of those. Their team is very, very popular right now, and it's because of the lockout. So you're going to see a major increase in popularity of college
Mm.
baseball if there's no season.
Well,
You're going to
yeah.
see a bigger increase of popularity of local baseball teams too.
Makes sense.
So,
Well, yeah, the College World Series is a
yeah.
big event.
Mhm.
They always play in the same place. I keep forgetting
I
where it's
don't
at.
know.
Um, I forget the name, but it's super popular.
Yeah.
Obviously, big colleges that are very popular in baseball.
Yep.
Love watching the College World Series. I
Mhm.
think, if I'm not mistaken, Vanderbilt won the College World Series last
I
time.
wouldn't be shocked. No, and
I think
Vanderbilt has one of the best programs in the country. So,
I might be wrong. What's it called? I haven't fact checked myself yet, so
yeah.
that's because I think that's the last thing I saw. But anyway, shifting gears. So
Yes. Go right ahead.
so I remember seeing this story a couple days ago about how Joey Gallo, obviously last season for the Yankees, it was bittersweet because we at the beginning we weren't really doing, let's say, that well as we knew as a club. Then we got Joey Gallo and Anthony Rizzo, which were blessings in disguise for sure. They definitely, let's say, brought up the competitiveness of all the players on the team, and it really helped us. But the thing is that we thought Joey Gallo was going to perform better than he did. He played well. To be in fact, he played half the season with the
The Rangers.
with the Texas Rangers and then the other half with the Yankees. He played 58 games with the Yankees, 188 at bats, 30 hits, 13 home runs, and 22 RBIs, which is not the numbers that you usually see him producing. Also, he had 88 strikeouts and at bat of a .160, 160, which is really bad.
Yeah.
That's basically getting a hit every four tries. That's really, let's say, under his ability. And there was a recent story that was produced that the reason why he blames his season being really bad with the Yankees is that he blames a shift for his downturn in form. You
Yeah.
might ask, what is the shift you mean? In a recent interview that he said, I got the defensive I get the defensive strategies. I do. I'm 100% not against that. But I think that at some point you have to fix the game a little bit. I don't understand how I'm supposed to hit a double or triple when I have six guys standing in the outfield. So, as Joey Gallo, when he first came to the Yankees, he was known as a slugger. He
Yeah.
was known as a person that can produce a lot of home runs, a lot of runs to the Yankees, and he comes in clutch for let's say at the Texans at the time.
Yeah.
That's why we acquired him. And the fact that he's blaming the outfield, let's say, I'm not upset, but that's not an excuse. You're a professional baseball player. You're supposed to adapt in either way. Yes, I could see why it's annoying that they have, let's say, all the outfielders move back to the out or infielders move out to the outfield.
Yeah.
I get it, but you gotta adapt.
Well, I
So,
mean, there's also an aspect of he's in a new system that
mhm,
he's not used to. He's in a
mhm,
new city that has probably the most intense fans in the country,
mhm.
with the exception of maybe like I don't know, maybe let me think here. Maybe like the Buffalo Bills fan base, that's a very intense fan base. Like,
Yeah.
New York,
Well, technically, like the New York Giants.
yeah, that too.
The New York Giants, jeez.
Now, it's a different atmosphere. So
Mhm,
he might have felt that being in a new place, and especially on the Yankees, the
mhm,
prestige that comes with being a Yankee,
mhm.
he might have gotten a little bit nervous about it. And
Exactly, which makes sense.
and
I
if you think
understand.
about it, you can't blame the guy.
Exactly.
So
Which is understood. I get it.
you
Sometimes
can
there's
yeah,
a popular phrase that pinstripes were too heavy.
yeah.
So,
You can also say that the same thing happened with Lindor this year. He was
mhm,
not too hot this year. And
exactly.
then, he was going around doing the thumbs down stuff at the end of the season when the fans booed him.
Mhm.
Because again, he's from the Cleveland system. He's not used to the
Exactly.
intensity of New York fans.
Which makes
So,
sense. I get it.
yeah,
I get
it's
it.
something you have to get used to. And that's what
Mhm.
happens with a lot of players that come to New York.
Which makes sense. Like,
So,
definitely, New York is perceived as a very high reward because you have basically shown everyone that you're capable
you're
of in
in
that
you're
system.
in the biggest sports media uh city probably in the world,
Exactly. I
and
would agree.
you have, maybe with the exception of the Boston area or Buffalo, you're in a
Mhm,
very, very intense sports environment where people are very loyal to their teams,
mhm.
and it is what it is, and they have to figure out a way to handle that type of
Exactly.
pressure.
I can definitely see your point of view. I definitely agree with you. With your comment.
Yeah,
It definitely shows that he, let's say, wasn't ready, I would say.
yeah,
Because I understand coming in the middle of the season is really difficult to produce.
yep,
Let's say the numbers that you were producing in your previous club. I get it. I understand. Um it's basically the same thing as just moving from one, let's say, to another. I can say in my aspect, I've moved around a lot, and it's obviously hard at the beginning, but you just adapt
hmm,
quickly.
yeah,
So it's definitely it's either fight or flight,
yep.
honestly, especially with, let's say, professional baseball players, because you don't really know when your contract's going to end. Meaning, let's say you have a deadline when your contract's going to end, but you don't know when they're going to cut off your contract.
They don't know if you're getting a trade. They don't,
Exactly.
you don't
So
know if you want to extend your time there, that sort of thing.
exactly.
So,
So it's definitely it's a industry that is very competitive,
yeah.
very unpredictable, and it's really difficult to, let's say, be a top player and consistently be at that level that everyone expects you to be.
Yeah.
At the same point, like you said, in New York is a very tough place to be in and especially play in. Um, and like we saw previously, like even in basketball in the Knicks, I forget who did this, but some player on the Knicks, he said, let's say, obviously, let's say, shut the f up to the crowd, and what's it called, and did the thumbs down as well, and it's like you can't lose control at all.
Yeah, you gotta remember where you are, and you gotta
Mhm.
be like, hey,
Exactly, like it's
you can't really fight it
exactly. You
necessarily.
gotta have thick skin in this industry, especially
Yeah.
in New York,
Yeah.
because everyone's watching you. Everyone expects you to do well. Everyone expects you to uh, be at your best. 24/7.
Yes.
Like this previous season with the Giants, which was not too great. So, like we've seen, that's why we got a full new house at the New York Giants,
Mm-hmm.
with the new GM Joe Shane, the head coach Brian Daboll, the offensive coordinator Mike Kafka, and the defensive coordinator was it Martin? I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I say Martin D. Let's just put it that way. So hopefully in that aspect, let's say the Giants do good, and let's say we'll see what happens in the next coming season,
Yeah.
especially and the big point of the lockout. I wonder what's gonna happen for sure.
Yeah. Like it just, you don't know what's gonna happen.
Exactly. So, and like I said before, this industry is very competitive. It's very unpredictable.
Yep.
You can one day be playing in a game, getting paid. Next thing you know, the league has a lockout and you won't be able to get paid
Yep.
for a whole year.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's difficult for sure.
Yes.
That's
So
really difficult.
going back to the Giants again, the NFC is wide open, with the exception of the Rams, and I'll say Green Bay if Rodgers stays there. NFC is wide open.
That's actually another good point because there's a lot of speculation that Rodgers is going to leave.
I think he's staying. Personally, I think he's staying.
You think he's staying? You think so?
Yeah.
You never know. There's aspects that he's linked to Tennessee. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
But it could be different, like a what's that called? Peyton Manning type run with the Broncos.
Yeah, maybe. Though I don't want him on the Broncos.
Yep. You're not a Broncos fan whatsoever.
No, not at all.
No, you're big KC.
Oh yeah.
Kansas City, Patty Mahomes, like you say.
Yeah.
That's good. But I think
so I think that's all we got for this week, folks.
It was sadly we couldn't go longer, but there really isn't a lot of things to talk about since it's like in the middle, let's say awkward stage, where there's no football.
Yeah, it's that time of year.
No baseball. Obviously basketball's kind of let's say starting up again. It already is in the season.
Yep.
And basically the main talk, like we said, was the that will be a lockout. So
yes.
But as of right now, I think we're good to go. And thank you everyone for tuning in.
And by the way, so tonight is against Canisius at 7 p.m. here at the Heinz
Athletic Center.
Thank you, Athletic Center. And go there. You know, let's root for our Gales.
Exactly, like Rick Pitino said in his first couple games. Let's have 1,000 students there.
Exactly.
It's definitely going to be a huge difference when we have a huge crowd at home.
Yes, and if you see us there, you know,
don't be shy. Yeah, don't be shy to say hi.
Yeah.
I don't bite. Trust me.
Yeah.
So we'll see you guys later the same time at 1 p.m. on Friday. See you guys later and have a great rest of your weekend.
Yep. See y'all soon.